fun and live. Justin, we did it. I have to say, I was kind of pessimistic about this time because I didn't see you coming, and I thought maybe he forgot, maybe he has something better to do. I don't know, but then you did it. I'm really happy.
I was only 1 minute late. I'm sorry.
Yes. Yes, this time, but the last like 3 times you told me, oh gosh, no, this time not. Oh, then I thought, all right, but I mean, you are busy.
Well, I'm here now.
You are here now, and it's fantastic, Justin. And I remember the first time I give you this backstory. I have 2 backstories to give you that I never told you. The first one is that I remember that when you came to, do you remember that you came to Italy to an event?
Yeah, I remember. I came with my friend Jamie. We were very jet lagged the whole time, but it was a great event. It was fun.
Yeah, Jamie, who was she? At the Viable, something like that was the name of it?
Right. That's right.
Did the company, does the company still exist or no? Probably not.
I don't know.
All right. Anyway, I remember we were like in a little park chatting before you were going on stage, something like that. And I asked you, what are you doing now? I mean, what is something interesting that you're doing? And you said, look, you know what? I think we'll spin off this thing where people play video game and you can watch people playing video game because we see a lot of traction. And I said something like, I think this is like a very bad idea, and that was Twitch. So, and you didn't start with Twitch yet. So I always think, I was not really good in predicting the future of Twitch. That was fantastic. So that was for me incredible. Yeah, that was incredible.
I'll forgive you that one. I mean, it all worked out in the end. Thankfully, we didn't take your advice.
Yeah, imagine if you would have taken my advice and say, yeah, Marco, yeah, let's drop it. Let's stay on just. So, Justin, I saw your NFT. I was really inspired by your NFT on OpenSea. How is it going?
It went pretty well. We're actually doing so the story behind my NFTs is about 2 months ago, I launched a YouTube channel, and one of my friends encouraged me to do it. She said, you have all these stories, you should start a YouTube channel. And at first I was a little hesitant, but then I started getting into the storytelling aspect. She helped me make some of the videos, and I was like, oh, okay, this is like pretty fun actually. And so launched them, and it got, it's done okay. You've been doing it for a while, so I need to get the tips from you actually. But my YouTube channel is really new. We're about 40,000 subs now. So, not very big yet. And we launched it, and a bunch of people, I noticed people would post and they'd say, I'm here as subscriber number 1,000, or I'm here early. I just want to say that I was early before this channel blows up, which is, a very nice thing to say. But I thought maybe there's a way that we can let people participate in the growth of the channel, feel like they have some ownership or bragging rights for being here early. So at the same time, I had a podcast. I host a podcast called The Quest. And in my podcast, I had Mark Cuban come on, and he was telling me about NFTs. He's like, oh, I think NFTs are the future. You get the NFT everything because it's going to improve ownership. And he was talking about this art he made and sold on Rarible, I think, for, $8,000 or $10,000 in Ethereum. And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. I mean, he doesn't obviously need $10,000, but I think he just thought it was really cool that he could make art and people would buy it. And it was completely digital. So I had this idea of why don't I make my YouTube videos NFTs, kind of like an autographed copy of my YouTube video. And so did that with OpenSea. The OpenSea team helped me a lot. Really love the team over there. Shout out to OpenSea. And then we posted these NFTs and we sold them all out, which is amazing. So we sold, we made 150 different copies and we sold them. And now there's 150 different owners. Or I think there's 50 different owners of the people who bought them. And so we're doing a shareholders call for all of our NFTs.
I love it. I mean, you're always incredible, but there are several things that I don't understand. Obviously, after I saw you doing, I did an NFT of my first YouTube video, and no one is even trying to buy it. That made me think.
Did you promote it at all?
Not really, because I'm a bit embarrassed. So I just say, guys, I have an NFT of my first video. I am there, chatting. So it's a bit, also the video is useless. So I don't know. But anyway, what I don't understand is the following. Number one, what kind of your videos are still on YouTube. You don't take
that doesn't include any rights. There's no rights. Like I'm not giving you the video rights. I'm just saying I'm only going to make this many copies of, most of them, some of them are one of one, and some of them, I made 50 copies, like digital copies, and I'm gonna, I'm only gonna make these, and then I'm gonna release them on the blockchain, and that's it. And so, if you think, it's like a collectible. If you like the when you buy like a collectible figurine or something like that of Batman, you're not like getting the rights to Batman, right? So, if you like it, then buy it, and you have this collectible, which is kind of like a autographed copy of my video. And if the channel, maybe if the channel grows, then it might be worth something more in the future. Maybe not. I don't want to promise that at all. You shouldn't invest any money that you don't like, aren't willing to lose, just as a caveat. That's the idea behind it. We thought it was kind of fun. And so, in the future, we're going to be dropping more and more of the videos in NFT drops as we, as we go on. So like maybe in a month or so, I'll drop like all the videos I made from now till then and see. And then, I think it's fun to have this shareholders call, because obviously these people are super fans of my videos. And so it's really about like, can I get in touch with them and talk to them and see what they want more of and what I can do better? And it's kind of like creating a feedback loop.
I love this part, Justin. How do you verify that they are holders of the NFT? They send you the form and they send you the hash.
There's an unlockable. If you're the owner on OpenSea, you can like unlock a link basically, and that link is like for a private webinar that we're going to be doing.
All right, got it. But what happens if I buy? You see how I think still? I live in UK for 8 years, but I still think
how can I get this for free?
With my Italian cheaty attitude. And what happens if I buy your NFT, I resell the NFT, but then the call already happened and the other person unlocked?
Oh yeah, so we're gonna do a call maybe every quarter, something like that. So it's kind of like if you're holding the NFT at the right time,
All right. Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
I saw how fun it is. I'm not promising every quarter. It could be every year, but like we're gonna do it. If it's fun, if we learn something, then we'll do it every quarter.
You know what? I'm really interested now in this social, let's say, social economy tokens for creators. I saw Rally that basically create a token, and then a creator can have a token and say, look, if you buy my token, then I don't know, I'll give you my ebook, or I give you a one-to-one or stuff like that. I thought that was interesting. Just the execution and the taxation, fiscal side. I don't know. This bit I think is still a bit confusing. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm really interested in that space. I think now that I get it, I'd like if people want a way to participate, and so if you can create something that people see as valuable, that is like a way for them to participate, I actually think that is really powerful.
Yeah. I would love to create like my Monty token, and then that's it. Ebook or events is just that. You can only use the token.
Why don't you do it?
Because the execution side, I don't know. I'm still a bit confused. How do I, if you buy my token and say, all right, now I want to buy your book. Okay, but my book is on Amazon, and there's a physical book, there is an ebook there. So I should create like a private area where everything is in there. And then when you log in, there is a coupon or something, or an API integration with this with this token platform, I imagine.
Yeah, I think that's I think someone will create that. I think that's a great idea. And like people creating their own economies. I don't know if it's at influencer scale, the scale of the individual influencer, or like a group of influencers or something, but like there's definitely something there,
Yeah, yeah. I'm just checking what you do, and I follow you, Justin. It's very easy. My strategy is kind of simple. By the way, you said Mark Cuban. I saw that he was inspired. Obviously, I mean, he's not doing for money. He's just testing and trying to see NFT world. But I saw that he was inspired by Cameo, basically. So he did this NFT, and he said, "Look, there is an unlockable content, and if you buy the NFT, I will send you a video saying, happy birthday or whatever." So it was that kind of, but it's the relationship that a creator can have with his community, and this NFT is unlocking, I think, the next wave. Because I both do startups and I'm a creator, and I see as a creator, I mean, yeah, you can have your Patreon on Twitch, but you don't really have the relationship with your community. There is always someone in between. Yeah. And so this is, for me, is the interesting bit.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think owning your own relationship with your community is super important, right? And that's even like on YouTube or whatever, you're always kind of disintermediated by these different platforms like Twitch. So, it's good to figure out ways to own your own access.
Justin, I love your YouTube videos, and I think you are a great storyteller, by the way. And and I didn't know the story of Twitch that you said millions of times, but I didn't know about the fact that you had multiple options to sell the company. And who was Google that it was almost done, you thought, all right, it's done, and then start again. I think it's crazy when you hear these stories from someone that did something really big and successful. Is really inspiring for a lot of little startuppers like myself, because you think, wow, if it happens there, I'm ready for a tough journey. But when do you see Twitch now? I mean, what's your feeling? Is like just something that, I mean, you left behind a long time ago? Is still something that is you passionate about or not?
Well, I streamed on Twitch the other day for the first time, like to promote my NFTs actually. And it's gotten a lot better, which is awesome. So that's one thing that's pretty cool. I mean, I love Twitch because it's such an amazing legacy, because so many people use it. So many people make their living on it. So it's something to be really proud of. But, at the same time, haven't been there for a pretty long time, like seven years. So, now my best friend still runs it, which is great. So, I kind of hear about it through him, catching up with him pretty often. But outside of that, I'm pretty outside. People are always asking me like, why is this YouTuber banned, or sorry, why is this streamer banned? Why is this, or why aren't they banned? And I'm like, I don't know, bro. I'm like, just as outside as you are.
Can you call and say something,
Yeah.
And then I saw you into Y Combinator. I saw you working at Y Combinator and investing.
Yeah, I worked there for a couple of years, between 2014 and 2017. And I was investing. It was great. I love Y Combinator. I still invest it. And then now I'm investing out of my own fund. That's called Goat Capital. I started with my friend Robin Chan. Yeah. So investing in startups, that's my full-time job to pay for my creator gig.
But I love it. But tell me something. Did I dream about it, or you also launched something in the legal sector?
I did. We launched something in the legal sector 4 years ago, and then we shut it down last year. It wasn't working. So
got it.
Went through another startup, learned all the lessons, and then ultimately ended up closing shop.
Interesting. And do you have any specific thesis for your fund, like specific sectors?
Yeah, so we really want to invest in like every company that we think is good, but
I love this thesis. Fantastic.
Yeah, there's maybe 4 different sectors that we're heavily researching and spending a lot of time with it. And they're pretty big. So the first is climate change companies. Investing in companies that are tackling the climate change problem, because there's, it's the world's biggest problem, I think, in the next, 50 or 100 years. And so that takes a lot of different forms. That could be companies that are, obviously, doing better for the environment on the carbon emission side. It could also be companies that are building infrastructure, like digital infrastructure for, carbon credits marketplaces and stuff like that. And it can also be hard technology companies that are doing things to limit to recapture carbon, from the environment, or create new processes where we can create more energy efficiency. One example is we invested in this company called Living Carbon, which is really an amazing company. They're doing genetically engineered trees to make them recapture more carbon from the atmosphere. And so, that's one big area that we're interested in. Another is digital commerce and kind of the digital economy. So I would include the creator economy in that. That's my background. That's my partner Robin's background. So we spend a lot of time thinking about that area and probably have the most experience there. Another area is healthcare. So I had incubated this company called Alto. It's a digital pharmacy company, raised $350 million, have tens of thousands, actually more than 100,000 patients that we served. And that company's done really well. And now I'm like just working on it.
What does it do?
It's like a pharmacy delivery. So it's like a verticalized pharmacy. We do everything from the pharmacy, employ the pharmacist, help you with your prescription, all the way through the delivery of the prescription to you locally. So that's a big kind of investment of mine, and now we're since then I've kind of invested in a bunch of other healthcare companies, and then the last thing is robotics and automation. So my brother and one of my Twitch co-founders started this company called Cruise, the self-driving car company. I was an investor in that, and since then I've been an investor in a bunch of different robotics companies or companies doing autonomous equipment of some form, or some sort of industrial automation, and just really think there's this huge unlock there that's happening in the world, and obviously it's a huge part of the economy. So that's probably the last area that we're focused on.
Wow, is a wide spectrum. How big is the fund?
The fund's very small. It's just a $50 million fund,
Right.
a seed fund. Yeah. And so we're just really focused on companies on those early stages, kind of that's where I've spent most of my career and probably what I know best.
Yeah, got it. So you enter early. On YouTube, there is one question from Loris, I think. Could Justin explain us how... Oh, it's back to Twitch, about your Twitch video, the story of Twitch. I invite everyone to watch the video. It's fantastic. You want to know, can you explain us how that kind of exit works? Just to remind, it's sort of $1 billion exit, and especially the emotions during those months. That's what Loris is curious about.
All right, sure. But you should watch the video because I really explained it probably much better than I ever will right now, because we made a whole video about it. But basically, when you do this massive exit, it's really like by the time you're a big company in Silicon Valley, you have like tens of millions of users. You kind of have these ongoing dialogues with all the other big companies, and for us, like Twitch, we were at, I think, 50 million MAU at the time. Like, we had conversations going with a bunch of different companies, and we were working on this BD deal with Google, and then Google was like, well, why don't we just buy you guys? And so then they started making offers, and we get these offers. Like the first offer was like 150 million plus 25 million in retention. So it's like 150 million to the to the management and founders and cap table, like basically the owners of the company, and then 25 million in retention to the team that would stay on. And we were like, no, it's way too low. And so they just kept bidding it up and up and up and up. And then, obviously the emotion around that was just like, at first we're kind of like, oh, okay, this is good validation. Then it was like, oh, that's maybe an offer we should consider. And then my co-founder was the one who's like, no, we got to keep going. And so then it was like, oh my God, we should take that, and then he's like, no, we should keep going. I want to keep going. And so eventually it got up to $850 million and 150 million in retention. And I was like, oh my God, and at the time I'm like falling on my knees and like laughing, like, cause it was such a tremendous amount of money. And then we, ultimately we signed the term sheet, but then it's like, you have to do the diligence, and there's this whole long waiting process.
Right.
And so it's actually quite harrowing. At that point, you're just like, what's happening? You have a lot of anxiety around it because you don't know, like, if they're going to find anything wrong. And ultimately the deal ended up not happening because we couldn't agree on what would happen if the deal wasn't approved by the government. At a certain size, the deal has to be like approved. And so we couldn't agree. And So we ended up walking away. You could see that happened recently with the Plaid Visa deal. They announced Visa is going to acquire Plaid for $5.8 billion. And a year later, they hadn't gotten government approval. So they were just operating their company, and ultimately they walked away from the deal.
Crazy roller coaster. But how does it work, Justin? I mean, you say there are ongoing conversations. It's like Zuck calls you and say, "Hey, Justin, it's Zuck. Maybe you could buy you." Or how does it work? Who is pinging?
There are these company, there's teams called the corporate development team, right? That's a euphemism in Silicon Valley and corporate America, really, and the corporate, actually the world, right? Which is means like the people who buy companies, right? They do M&A, they like buy companies, and so the corporate development teams are like full-time investment banks, almost inside of companies, and they go and they're like, okay, well, they might have a mandate that's like, we need to grow in this area, or we just need to like find companies that are creative that can fuel growth for us, and so they're going around and like talking to potential acquisitions, or partnerships.
And how do you verify? I had a few years ago, you see how we Italians, we are very, let's say, skeptics, about everything. How do you verify that a company is not trying to due diligence your company just to get information about you and then, launch like
that happens
launching his clone or not?
I mean, that happens all the time. So I think it really is, there's reputation as part of it, but then also just like, you don't want to really share everything. You just want to share enough that you could like maybe get interest, but like, kind of hold back the key secrets. Yeah.
Got it. So just the big numbers, and then that's it. I go on Clubhouse. How is Clubhouse in Italy? Is exploding. Clubhouse.
Yeah.
Is it big in US?
Yeah, the Clubhouse is I feel like it's the next really big social media platform, and I love it. Personally, I spend a lot of time on it. I'm a huge fan.
Fantastic. So I go on Clubhouse. There is David, I think, with a question for you. David, let me see. Hello, David.
Hi, Marco. Hi, Justin. Thanks for inviting me to the stage. And thanks for this great conversation. It's a pity I couldn't join earlier. Really amazing content. Justin, I actually discovered you, which is strange because I follow, a lot of entrepreneurship stories and founder stories, but I had never heard of you until a friend of mine told me, hey, look, I'm following this Justin on TikTok, and he does amazing content. I was like, okay, let me check. Let me check who Justin is. But this introduction didn't do you justice.
Justin, the famous TikToker. Can you see Justin? I mean, you did the history of internet, and now people knows you for your TikTok.
I love TikTok. I'm having so much fun on it. I actually wanted to make a TikTok before we went on this interview, but I was running late.
Great, David.
I really love your content, Justin. It's really amazing. And actually, I have a question that goes in this direction because I really love the advice you're giving to the founders. And my question is, an advice to a founder, looking back on your experience with Twitch, what is the top one thing that that used to be very important for you, that you used to be obsessed with, that looking back, you think you wasted time being worried about that thing and didn't really actually bring value to Twitch?
Thank you, David.
There was so many. That's a good question. I mean, there's like most of the things you're obsessed with, like 90% of the ditches I dug, like the work that I did at the early days of Justin TV and Twitch turned out to be irrelevant. Like you are afraid of losing this broadcaster or like this streamer, like, right. There's always this competition for streamers. And in the beginning of Twitch, we had this competition, not with, Facebook gaming or YouTube, but with this, or Mixer, Microsoft's now defunct platform. But this, we had this competition with this other, like this other company called Own3D, and they would like, snipe all these broadcasters, and, we were obsessed with it and like so worried, but it turned out they went bankrupt, right? Like they were not able to compete because they were over promising and under delivering. And so for us, we were like all those things at the time, even before that, we were competing with Ustream over getting celebrity broadcasts. I remember we'd like try to get all the celebrities to do their like live stream to promote whatever album or, movie they were launching on Justin TV instead of Ustream. And we were very bad at convincing them, and we were like not Hollywood, so they like ultimately mostly went to our competitors, and then we were crushed about it. But at the end of the day, it was like completely irrelevant, or how much money we raised. We would always be obsessed with like how much money we were raising compared to our competitors, and they always raised more because they were better fundraisers than us at the time. But like it turned out it was so much better for us to have no money. I know it's hard to say, it's confusing to say that, but it was better for us to have no money, because then we were very disciplined about how to build, infrastructure that scaled, that was very cheap. And we hired like relatively few people. So it was like we got a lot done with like a very small number of people, so it's all of those things that we thought were like the end of the world at the time, or we were super obsessed with, but that, they didn't actually matter, or it helped us that we were bad at it,
It's really interesting. I used to be always worried about competitors and competition, and one of my recent startup. Are you familiar with Masterclass.com? Yeah. So I'm doing basically an Italian masterclass. Is masterclass, but with the made in Italy. Yeah, fashion, cooking, everything.
Okay.
So the idea is in Italy, we have the great made in Italy fashion furniture. So we gather together the best made in Italy people, and we do courses with them, initially for the Italian market, and then we'll go international.
Yeah, I love that.
It's cool. I think it's cool. It's really, can I be honest? It's really hard. It's really hard because you have to, convince the celebrities and then contract, and so it's a long process. It's not that you just get, we already have 50 celebrities, we'll get 200, so it's a long process, but it is interesting. And when we started, there was this I start, maybe I have 3 million followers, and immediately some clones, people trying to do the same, and I thought, oh my gosh, competition. But then if you focus on your product, you think, oh, all right, but if I focus and I really, really do, gather together the best people, and I do the contracts and I do the product well, good luck to the competition. So I'm less worried now. But I agree, you're obsessed with so many stupid things, and sometimes it doesn't make any sense when you look it back.
For sure.
Is it Paul Graham still in Y Combinator?
He basically retired.
He retired.
So
right.
My co-founder, Michael Seibel, is now the CEO of the YC core program and running that.
Got it. You always very, you have a lot of wisdom, Justin, I have to say. You are, I think you're younger than me. I'm 49. You're, I think, younger, but I often think, gosh, Justin is so much, he has so much more wisdom than me, and when I watch your videos, I thought, wow, he really, pay attention to the important things. And also on your Twitter, you have some good wisdom tips. Is it something that you always had, or after Twitch, you started to have more time to think? And
yeah, for the record, I'm 37, so I'm much younger than you. Just
right, a lot. You can be like my son, basically. I have 4 kids, so almost no.
I don't think I was always this wise or self-aware. Maybe it's mostly self-awareness, but it came from the difficult experiences actually that I had with startups and outside of startups, and just really using those as a catalyst for growth, and to learn about myself. That really changed the way that I think about the world. And so I think that's where it came from. And, I've spent a lot of time in the last 5 years on my personal growth and just learning about myself and in the world. Like before, I was so obsessed with the external, right? Like I was like, oh, I want to have a big company and make a lot of money and be successful. And I didn't know why, right? It was subconscious, but I wanted all those things. And then I got it, and then nothing changed. It was kind of weird. I was like, oh, shouldn't like everything be great now, like everything, my life should be
Right.
amazing. And in many ways it is and was amazing, but it wasn't any different. Like the quality of it wasn't different. I still had bad days, a lot of them. I still was depressed, much of it, some of the time. I still, had wanted more. Like I was still like attached to getting bigger companies outcomes and like to make a lot more money. And I was like, well, this the same as ever. And so I started to try to learn about why. And I realized like, oh, all of these desires to have more or to be more successful or to need some validation outside myself, that is one, it's part of the natural human condition. That's like human beings run this algorithm in their head. But then two, it's like, oh, I can see where these different experiences that I had in my early life, in my childhood, contribute to having that. I want to be successful today because I wanted to be successful today because like I thought that could prove, if I did, it would prove like to my childhood self that you're, worth
Yeah.
loving, right? Like, or accepting from your, you get the acceptance you want from your peers, back then. But of course you can't go back and change things in the past. And so, going through that journey and realizing that, and then the next step for me was to think, okay, now how do I want to be in the world, and like, how do I make that happen? So a lot of that was focusing on meditation and my spiritual growth and reading about those things and going to therapy and drinking plant medicine and, all that. And so, I think that's really helped me to become the person I am today.
And yeah, more also self-aware. By the way, I remember I was watching for a period your snaps where you were like doing exercises and and talking about startups or stuff like that. Have you tried? I've interviewed Wim Hof, the Iceman, and I started 2 years ago doing cold showers. It was great. Honestly, one of the best choices in my life. I don't know what kind of experiments are you doing, or if you have some good habits. For me, it was cold shower, and also, are you familiar with Ido Portal? Israeli. No. Is good. It's interesting. He has all of his theories about movement. And I watched an interview once, and he said, "Look, if you have back problems, just hang on a bar, 7 minutes a day, not consecutive, like during the day, 20 seconds." And gosh, I got like, my back is perfect now, just hanging, every day hanging.
Amazing.
So it's incredible how many little change could be interesting. Do you have any good habit for your health that you discovered in these years?
Yeah, so I actually tried Wim Hof. Didn't stick for me, although I do like cold. My schedule's been a little disrupted because I moved during the pandemic, but before that I was like doing cold plunge pretty regularly. Like I like sauna and cold plunge. I think that's like pretty good for your health, And so I'm rebuilding my sauna and cold plunge, but I haven't been able to do it regularly in the past year. But before that, or like, concurrent, I meditate every day. That's a really big one for me. Probably the most cornerstone habit. I work out every day of some form, it could be lifting, it could be cardio, but it could be stretching, doing yoga, but I do something every day. And even if it's just for 5 minutes. And so I found that really helps. I said this one I struggle with, but I try to eat like a low carb diet. I fast most days and only eat like one meal at night. So those are probably the main things. So I do this gratitude journal every day, every morning. I do a gratitude journal, like 3 things I'm grateful for, which I find to be very powerful for activating the mind towards, to realize what a blessing like my life is. So those are the main things. Justin,
I can imagine that today in your gratitude journal, you wrote, "I'm so grateful to do this Monty chat."
Exactly.
That's it. That would be in ungratitude journal. Is a black book. So I have a couple of people. By the way, there is Peloton. I also started Peloton, and I was reading a news about how is doing Peloton in US. Here in UK is going strong.
Yeah, Peloton I think is doing really well. I like it. I've had a Peloton for a long time. That's my cardio usually.
Oh, all right, got it. But I told you because I was reading this news where Peloton CEO John Foley, to stay hydrated, drinks 40 sips of water from his hands in his upstairs bathroom every morning until he feels like he's going to throw up. These are the daily habit of random people.
You can
Let
do
me go
Wim
back.
Hof, or you can do that.
Yes, I mean this is so I will do cold shower and then drink water until I'm done. So let me go to Clubhouse. Who do we have here? Martina, student aesthetic expert. Hello, Martina. Nice to have you here. And then we also have someone from VR. All right, Martina, hi.
Hi, sorry, I'm wrong, but now that I'm here, can I just ask something? Because I'm not here from the start.
All right, okay. Don't worry, Martina. You forgiven. I'll go. I love Clubhouse. Sometimes people around and say, "What are you talking about?" But you raise your hands. I don't know, but I was just here. We have VR. Oh, this is VR Italy. So I don't know your name, but they writing about VR. Well,
yes, my name is Michel, by the way.
Hello, Michel.
Yeah, okay. No, I was wondering if for Justin is it possible to prepare some kind of button that will make our community and your community wanted to grow. I'm sorry, I'm kidding. Okay, this didn't work. I was kidding. No, being serious. Sorry, Justin. No, I was. I want to ask why, if you think it's so difficulty on Twitch to have audience and grow inside Twitch, because if you go in Instagram, it's possible to follow other people and being followed. But in Twitch, I see that it's much more difficult than the other platform, maybe because of the feed, maybe because for other reasons. But what do you think? This is was meant the platform to be so difficult to grow in this
Got it.
way?
I think, Justin, until you die, people will ask you about why did you ban Dr. Disrespect? Why?
Yeah, it is hard to grow on Twitch, right? It's hard to grow because Twitch, I mean, there's a couple of things. Twitch is like a real grind. Like you got to be on there all the time. And it's kind of like Clubhouse in a way. It's like the hours you put in, that's like what's going to help you get viewers, right? And it's kind of the hard part is the directory. Previously, they changed it a couple of years ago, but previously it was very much ranked by how many viewers you had. So if you want to be on top of the directory, you really had to like get, the people, it's kind of a winner take all algorithm where like the people on the top would get more viewers. And so it is, I think that as they moved more and more towards like kind of like TikTok or YouTube, where it's a feed that highlights new people to you, that would help a lot. But right now, I think Twitch is a little behind on that compared to some of the other platforms. And that's what makes it a little difficult. I mean, if you look at the platforms, that's why I love YouTube and TikTok so much. Is like, as someone who's relatively new to both, it's like I can grow on those platforms because they surface my content to new people. Or I can go on a show, like on Monty's show, and then really get into the Italian audience. So everyone should follow me on YouTube, subscribe to my channel, Justin Kahn Vlog, and my TikTok. I got to shout it out, but like there's methods to grow on these other platforms.
Yes.
On Twitch, it's like harder, it is much harder.
Absolutely. And also you have to be in sync also on Clubhouse. I mean, you have to be there streaming basically all the time. You can't send your bot or virtual AI.
You can't send your bot or your AI or your intern or whatever to like go you.
Do it for you. I was curious about your opinion on Bitcoin, Justin, because I was checking before coming in, and there is this big discussion, this religious discussion in this moment that I see. On one side, you have also some very strong names, the Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett, that say, or Rubini that say, Bitcoin is just, poison for rat, is a bubble, is a Ponzi scheme. And then on the other side, you have the maximalist that say, no, Bitcoin is the new everything. And then in the middle, you have a lot of different opinions. But recently, I was following more Michael Saylor, MicroStrategy, the CEO of MicroStrategy. And I was really impressed by his way of thinking and the fact that he put part of his balance sheet in Bitcoin and then obviously Tesla and so on. What is the feeling in your opinion? I mean, is something that can go to zero? Is now an asset? What's your point of
Yeah, I
view?
don't think it can go to zero anymore. I think there's too
Right.
much momentum around Bitcoin and too much, it's basically a shared belief that this is valuable, right? Like gold or anything else. It's like, or any, digital asset. Like people have a belief that all sorts of digital assets are valuable, right? Like it doesn't have to be an NFT. Like people are now buying and selling Amazon, categories, right? Like or like goods that and Amazon listings, right? Like so, if I have a good that I'm selling, like a small business on Amazon, there, you can sell it, or you could sell a Shopify storefront or something like that. It doesn't exist in the real world. It's just it's a digital asset, and so I mean the idea that digital assets have value, it's like it only requires like there to be a market of people who believe that, right, for it to be true. And I mean with Bitcoin, I feel like that momentum, we crossed that momentum threshold years ago, probably around
Right.
2013 or whatever. And so I think Bitcoin it's here to stay.
Got it. And what about Silicon Valley in this moment? Because I saw some people going away from Silicon Valley, people going to Miami, to other places. Is it still let's say, the Silicon Valley that always been? Is the same mood? Is the same kind of atmosphere, in your opinion? Something is changing? I was curious about it.
Yeah, well, so Silicon Valley, like San Francisco itself is, kind of struggling as a city, and a lot of people have exited the city, like myself included. But I think that Silicon Valley is going to, continue to be the primary place where startup innovation happens. I think that there's this opportunity with remote where like there's many other places where some will happen, but you do still have this serendipity and network effect. So I wouldn't like write off Silicon Valley. I do think it's like, more diffuse than it has been before, and that will continue post-pandemic.
And do you think that with remote working, it will be realistically possible that someone from, I don't know, Italy is working for, a company, a Silicon Valley company, in a easier way than it was before the pandemic? Do you think this will?
True. I mean, it's still gonna like really suck because that person's gonna have to be taking meetings at 9 p.m.
Yeah.
It's definitely it was possible before, and it's going to be more possible now because there's just more acceptance of remote work.
Got it. Justin, a couple of more minutes. Tell me something about new companies. Every time I speak with you always tell me a few names of startups that I have no idea who they are, and then I find out after a few years when they IPO or when they, I don't know, they do incredible numbers. I think, oh gosh, Justin told me that time. Is there any interesting startup that you see at the moment that you say, oh wow, this one is going to grow. This is a very interesting team. I mean, obviously Clubhouse is one, but it's already a big mainstream phenomenon.
Yeah. So there's a lot, I think it kind of depends on what category you're interested in. There's this company called Ramp, a company I invested in, where, I really love the founders. They're basically building a credit card for companies, like a new Amex, and
right.
The company's doing really well. I really love, there's a company in India called Sock Soho that's building the kind of like a sock company in India, but really it's a conversational commerce company. So invested in them about 6 months ago, and company's doing really well. I know it's kind of a random one, but I feel like they're going to be an e-commerce giant. So it's kind of a random assortment. What else? It depends on like what area you're interested in. There's this company I really love called Vicarious. That's a AI company that's building robotic labor to help automate warehouses and factories, and
wow,
just really have like an amazing solution that's using a different AI vector or like methodology than the previous kind of deep learning models, and really excited about where they're going. So I don't know, there's a bunch.
Wow, great, fantastic. I'll go check now when we finish. Justin, it's always a pleasure to talk with you. I invite everyone to follow Justin YouTube channel. It's fantastic, and obviously on TikTok. And let's stay in touch. When the pandemic finish, we have to do a reunion in UK. Have you ever been in UK recently or not? I'm in Brighton now.
I think the last time I came was in 2016.
All right, got it.
But I love the UK. I mean, yeah.
But actually, if I think maybe better to organize in Italy with some good wine, you know, and some good food,
Yeah.
that would be the place. Justin, thank you so much. Thanks to everyone on Clubhouse and everyone else. I'll see you soon. Bye.
See ya.